Hi, I'm Brent Johnson, and here's another video from Florida. We are in Fort Lauderdale today at Christ Church. This is a United Methodist Church, and with me again is Bob Vogel. Thank you for coming in today. Bob, you're not the organist here. Our organist is
Chuck Stanley.
And a great guy, but he couldn't be here today because he's busy with rehearsals and things. So we're going to figure out this organ, which is going to be a lot of fun because you and I don't know this organ nearly as well as Chuck would. So we're going to explore a lot. We have a Casavant, correct?
Correct, from 1975.
1975, and we were trying to decide whether or not that means Mr. Phelps was.
Mr. Phelps was the tonal director.
I think he was the tonal director. We're pretty sure he was still there in that year. So if
he's not, you'll let us know.
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot of ranks. Now we're going to point out that this has gone through some changes over the years. What do you know about it?
So it was originally built in 1975 as a 3-manual 66 rank organ with an antiphonal in the back of about maybe 12 ranks. And then in 1989, Guzowski and Steppe put a 4-manual console on. In 2014, that 2-manual console that had blank draw knobs was taken by Colby, and they redid things, and digital stops were added at that time by Walker.
Okay, so we have Walker Digital filling in a lot of the holes, and I notice as I look under there, I do see all the nameplates of the various companies that have been involved. It's hidden beneath the music rack. So we're going to listen to this. I think we're going to start with some of the pipe stuff, and we'll kind of point out when we hit the digital things. And let's start with the grand org. Now, the organ is mostly all here in the front of the church behind a grill, so there's really not much to look at. So we're going to listen today. But let's start with that great, tell me the stop.
16 or the principal?
Let's start with the principal 8. Clear 1975 kind of sound there.
And the 4-foot.
Even 4 there.
And the 2-foot. So that's 8, 4, and 2.
Okay, yeah, nice clear sound. And I was actually surprised that the 4 and the 2 kind of get smaller as we go up. They don't usually, sometimes in these 70s organs, they tend to bloom a little bit and get bigger. It kind of actually stays pretty calm. Okay, let's add the mixture then on top of that.
And the mixture.
All right, and then we actually have a furniture there, and then we have an additional mixture. Is it cornet mixture?
Cornet.
So it's cornet, right?
You want to put the 16-foot?
Yeah, let's put that 16 in.
And then a little bit, let's listen to it separately.
Nice quintutin sound there.
Which actually adds some neat sound. From listening to it by itself, I wouldn't have gotten the impression that it would add so much weight under the principal chorus.
It's true. Yeah, it does add a lot of color there to it. Okay, and then we have
some flutes.
Flutes in this division.
Chimney flute. And a 4-foot flute of it.
Then we have the cornet, which
a tenor C 5-rank cornet.
Okay. that takes us to our trumpet.
You have le trumpet.
Our typical thin, bright, great trumpet there.
And that's the end
That's
of the
the end of
pipes.
everything that's piped in the grand org. So let's look at what we have that's digital in here. We had our mantra that's 8 foot, but then we also have an 8-foot diapason, correct? Okay.
Compared to the Phelps.
Yeah, very different quality.
And then we have an 8-foot harmonic flute.
Yeah, very different from the chimney flute there.
And the 2 2/3.
I find that interesting that was left out of the Phelps specification originally, but maybe the mixture. Okay, and then to complete our principal cornet, we have a 17th in there. Nice and bright, so we can add it to the... Yeah, so want to make a nice biting chorus there. That adds a lot of color.
Le comparison.
Very different sound. Okay, and then we have some digital reeds as well.
16-foot contrabombard.
Nice
where the hell I
match
was
to the
going.
thin. Yeah, great.
16 and 8, and the 4-foot clarion is digital. Well, that packs a punch.
It is, yeah. But they go to the digital blend with the real pipes very well. So that's always nice to hear. We also have a set of real chimes down there in the bottom of the grate. Good. Always need those. Most important stop on the organ. All right. From there, let's go over to the choir division. And again, we have a basis of some real pipes, and then we add a few little digital colors here and there.
So history, this division was originally a positive unexpressive.
That's right.
And in 89, GNS put it in a box. So now it has expression. And the principal conique. Compared to the great. The 4-foot octave.
It's strangely flute-like. Usually these positive, which originally it was a positive division, those 4-foots get
More
bigger
bright.
and bright and thinner, but this is, again, maybe they revoiced it a bit when it became a choir.
8-foot.
The 2 2/3 would be next.
And then a 2-foot. And the tierce is originally pipe. So
Those are all very fluty. I'm wondering if that's more of a flute cornet with. That you can combine it with the principals if you wanted, certainly.
Want to try a flute first?
Let's listen to the flute. Let me hear it. A stopped flute.
And then the open flute.
So we have a lot of cornet options here on this organ. That's what I'm learning. And those still are all real pipes to this point. So, and we even have a 1 1/3 larigo that can go on top of that, correct? Little dead notes in there, okay. And then we have a mixture, a cymbal that is real. Very bright, but
presume
mild.
that says 2/3.
I believe so, yeah.
So we have 8, 4, 2, mixture. And the tune 2/3.
Okay. So yeah, a lot of little options you can do, especially when you're combining the grand organ and the choir. You can bring some of those bright colors down. Lovely. And then we have a real crumhorn in this division. Nice buzzy crumhorn there. So
And
yeah,
it's nice in the bottom.
yeah.
Get some weight.
All right, and then that's everything that's real in the choir division. So let's go back and look at what we have that's digital. We're starting with a 16-foot.
Here's Sarah.
Yeah, lovely. And then the flute celeste, which goes with the 8-foot flute that's real. So we have a real flute combined with works very well. And then Erzähler, I assume, I don't know if this is the same Erzähler as the 16, but we have a 2-rank. And then that's it. The next one up is our 16-foot Dulcian, the reed. Kind of sounds like a bigger version of the crumhorn.
Le cor anglais.
Very nice.
And then a roll shamai. At 4-foot.
Been a long time since I've seen a Rohr Schaumai as a relatively new addition to a console, so but it sounds great. It sounds exactly like I would expect it to sound. Let's go over to the other side now. Let's start with the Race C division. Our enclosed Swell, it's all up here, but again, combination of mostly real stops, but we have a few little digital things thrown in.
8 foot. Eight-foot viola da gamba and the Celeste.
Yeah, very nice.
An 8-foot Borden. A little bit more chiff,
Yeah, definitely.
which is extended down to 16. And there's a 4-foot flute. A 4-foot principal. Viola da gamba. Borden.
Okay.
And then there's a 2-foot flute à bec. And the 2-rank cornet above that. So building up the cornet flute, 8-foot Borden, 4-foot flute, 2-foot à bec,
Let's compare it, to our other cornets. Yeah, all very different.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is more fluty, but it's louder.
Yeah. Well, you have then the principal cornet, if you want, of these stops with the mantra and the 17th over here. Lots of options. That's what we're learning. Okay. Continuing through the race C over there now.
So the mixture.
Full rank plangeux. Let's hear our whole principal chorus in the Swell, such as it is. Let's add the 16-foot Borden in here then. Nice big racy sound there. Now we have some reeds that are real in this as well. Starting with our bassoon, 16-foot is the lowest one. Yes, and then our 8-foot oboe.
And the 4-foot clarion.
Let's hear all three of those to see what our 1975 reed battery sounded like. So the reeds were bright in this organ, but they weren't overwhelming here.
Very bright.
That is everything that's real in the Ray C, but now let's go back and we have a few digital stops.
Kagan diapason. DeVos.
Flute de bois, nice 8-foot soft flute there. And then the next one being the Celeste that goes with it. So then we have an added 2 2/3 that's digital. But if you don't want the full cornet, you can just add that little bit of 2 2/3 color, okay?
Or reinforce the 2 2/3 line.
And then our 2-foot doublet is actually an extension of the 8-foot Geigen. So that's one of the few digital extensions here. Okay. And then going to the reeds, we have an 8-foot trumpet.
So if we have the 1975 reeds and add the digital.
16-foot contras in there as well. It surprises me those are a little bit bigger, a little bit louder, but they're not that different from the 1975 sound. I'm actually kind of impressed at how. They've got that thinness and that brightness, and it could have been a temptation to put a big trombone like 16-foot in there, and instead they stuck with something that was very similar to the rest of the organ. So I like that. I think that's a good use of digital design there. And then finally, an 8-foot Vox Humana in the Swell here. Okay, that's everything in the Swell then. Our last manual division that is all real is the Antiphonal, which includes one pedal stop. But we have, let's start here with the manual stops in the Antiphonal. Now this is in the opposite end of the room, all exposed, up in the balcony, so speaking as it should, appropriately antiphonally.
On its own pedestal up there.
Indeed.
8-foot flute and a conical solitional.
Interesting.
Four-foot Prince Preston. Very full sounding.
Yeah.
And 2-foot doublet. Hello. Oh, wow.
They're all independent back there, I believe.
Yeah, it sounded like it was the same rank. And then the mixture. Eight, 4-foot, 2-foot, mixture.
And then there's an antiphonal pedal stop. It's just one Borden back there. That is an a full 8-foot stopped pipe, so it's a real 16-foot stop metal Borden back there. And no reeds back there to have to crawl up and tune. So that's all of our manual stops. Let's talk about pedals over there. It's not all of our real manual stops anyway. There's one other thing to talk about, but let's see what we've got in the pedal that's real. Looks like a 16-foot Mantra is our first stop. Oh, this is both. This is real and fake.
Right.
Okay. So we don't know what that is.
Big.
It's big, yeah. It's digital. It says it's both digital and pipe, but I don't. It sounds pretty digital all the way up to the top.
11 pipes.
Maybe it's just the
And
bass.
then
Could be. I will have to crawl in and see. But then the one thing I do know is real is the subas.
Quintatone is borrowed from the great, and the Borden from the Swell.
The next real pipe is the 8-foot principal. Definitely sounds real. And then we have an 8-foot
Borden.
Borden. Yeah, nice colorful Borden. And then the next thing we should see is a 4-foot octave.
And then a 4-foot chimney flute.
Pedal chimney flute. And then we do have a mixture in there, furniture, the 4 ranks. Let's hear the pedal principal chorus. Mixture makes it nice and bright.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that is all of the real flute pipes that aren't borrowed from another division, aren't down. So then we go to a reed. We have an 8-foot trumpet. Definitely sounds real. I should say it's a trumpet. We do have a trumpet, but it's digital. And then we have a 4-foot shallow that's real. They're way up there at the top. So that's all of our real pipes in the pedal division. We have a few that are digital that we'll maybe listen to. First of all, we have two 32-foot pipes. We have an Untersatz and a Contraviolon that are 32-foot in the pedal. Let's just listen to what those sound like see if the mics pick them up. That's the Untersatz, certainly rattles things.
And the violon. It's a nice definition.
A lot of noise, yeah. And then that continues up as a
Awesome.
16-foot violone. And then that 16-foot violone actually continues all the way up to 8. So it's a 32, 16, and 8-foot violone. Okay.
That's it.
So then we go to the next thing, which is our reeds.
Start at the top.
Let's start
go
at the
down.
top of the reed. Let's start with the
That's
8-foot.
borrowed.
We have an 8-foot trumpet stop in the pedal. It's digital, and I assume independent. Yeah, that's the first reed that doesn't sound like the rest of the reeds in the organ. There's where our big trombone sound is. Now, I'm guessing that probably goes down and becomes part of the 16-foot bombard, maybe? That could be an independent thing as well. What's the bombard sound like? Okay, so that's one stop there, and then it goes on down. And that continues to 32 to be our contra bombard. I believe it's the same. Oh, different. Okay, so it is an independent, very similar sounding. Again, very different from the rest of the reeds and the thin reeds. We've got this huge, big fat one in here. Okay, there's a couple of things we didn't talk about that are digital, and I want to mention them. Well, there's one that's real that we didn't talk about that we need to mention, and that is our trumpet de fête in the grate. Nice big bright sound for all your fanfare needs. And then everything else is in the solo division. We have a
Solo, so we haven't gone
the
there.
tuba there is borrowed from the solo. So we have a whole solo division that plays on the top manual that is completely digital. So let's just listen to those quickly. We have what's our first stop?
Grand diapason, which has a celeste. And a cello with its celeste. A doppelflute.
Big bright doppelflute sound.
Grand octave is separate. Four-foot orchestral flute. An 8-foot flugelhorn. An orchestral oboe. That has a lot of weight to it. French horn. And a 16-foot corno de bassette.
It's a great sound. And then finally,
A tuba mirabilis.
that is our solo division. Now, some of those stops show up as independent stops in other divisions, so they can be used as solo stops with solo stops accompanying them. So that was the intention of that. So they kind of show up throughout the organ. Oh, yes, we do have antiphonal, or we do have solo chimes as well there, so we can have chime duets if we want. All in all, a very useful instrument. There's so much you could do with it and so much to explore, so I think we should play around with it and see what we can get out of this instrument. So we start here in the front of the church, right by the organ grill. And go back to some hallways here. And once again, we find an organ that we get into by going outside first. This is an outdoor walkway here behind the sanctuary. And then there's a door that takes us right into the organ blower room. And here in the blower room, there's a ladder that takes us up through the ceiling to an opening in the organ chamber, and we are here on a laid-out red carpet underneath the positive, so we have to inch along a little bit here to get to the ladder. Once we get to this ladder, we can come up and we see the positive box here. So we'll start by opening that up and just taking a quick look inside. You see the crumb horn there right in front, or mixture to the side. Very narrow little walk space, and you need another ladder to get up into it. Our Preston is right there. Chimes up above us. And flutes over on that side. And our Tierson Nazard behind the crumb horn. And of course we can see speakers on the ceiling for the digital editions. Okay, going back out, we turn around behind us. We have some of the pedal stops. Our 16-foot reed. And I believe the violone. I was unable to locate if there is actually a 16-foot mantra in here, but we continue on, inching our way through on these wind lines that are covered with walkboards. And we're looking back where we came from, because here there's another ladder. We go up, and there is the grate chest. And then on this side, we have the swell box. So let's look in there first. And when we open the door, we notice that the entrance is blocked by pipes. To get into the swell, you have to take these pipes out of their normal location. I had been warned about this before I went up here, but I didn't really believe it until I saw it for myself. There is no way to access the swell without taking out pipes. So instead of taking out pipes, I'm going to climb up the ladder here and at least put the camera in so we can get a look around and see that once you're in, you could probably reach everything pretty well, but you still have to get in first. It appears these Bordens have had some repair done in their life, and we have speakers back there as well. So from the swell, we go down, and then we can take this ladder up. And we get a look at the grate here. We're going to take the ladder up, and now we are standing among the grate, and we see a Zimbelstern that we somehow did not see a control for. There's our great trumpet, our 8-foot principal, the roar flute, I believe the 4-foot principal. There's the back of the pedal violons that we saw earlier from the front. And more speakers here for digital stops. Back here we have some of the upper work, and we have tall tubes because the cornet is tubed off of the main chest. Let's see where it attaches down there, and then the pipes are actually up here at eye level on their own toe board. That's one way to squeeze 5 more rings of pipes onto a chest. And there's some more pedal Bordens there, and we can see that there are pipes above us. There's another wind chest up there. So to reach that, we head back to the ladder, and we come up the ladder. There's the pedal sub-bass. It is 16 foot back here. And we see our trumpet de fête. And then we have the pedal upperwork back here in the pedal chameau. You can see some evidence of the 1975 soft tin there in that mitered pipe that's collapsing. I think that was what had to be repaired in the swell. A closer look at the chameau there. And another look here at the trumpet de fête. Almost all of it's hooded. There's some that aren't. I don't know why that is. But all of them pointing directly out into the church. Bob, thanks for sitting in today and helping me figure out this instrument. I think we got everything straight. Someone will tell us if we got anything wrong in the comments below. And down there in the description, you'll also find the specification of the organ. You can look at it for yourself and see how it all works out. While you're down there, give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you want to see more, if you'd like to help us make more videos, you can go to organ.media, click on support, and become a sponsor. Help us get to places like Miami and see instruments like this one. Until we can bring you our next video, though, because we do have some more coming from Florida, so keep watching. You can find streaming classical organ music on our 3 stations, organlive.com, Positively Moved, and the Organ Experience. Thank you again, Bob. This has been a lot of fun to explore this wonderful big instrument from 1975 with lots of additions. So I hope you liked it too. Until our next video is out, I'm Brent Johnson.